everyone. Welcome to The Future of Ethereum Starts with Open Source Education. My name is Tina. I am one of the UETH core team members. We'll talk a lot more about what UETH is, but first let me introduce you to some of my colleagues. We have Satu, who is also a UETH core team member, Sai, who's our UETH visionary, and Colton, who is the founder of ACE TCG. So for this session, we're going to get started making the case for why open source education. Then we'll tell you a lot more about our work that we do here at UETH, as well as the underlying philosophy that we're taking. And finally, we're excited to unveil a strategic partnership with Colton, which he will talk more about. So I will get started with the case for open source education. I think the case is quite obvious. Digital literacy is very crucial in navigating the Web3 space safely. When people come and they have to actually own their assets and navigate scams, there is a widespread need for blockchain basics. And so while there's a ton of content out there on crypto Twitter, on Medium, Substack, Farcaster, users have to really sift through this content and understand exactly what is quality and what is credible. And simultaneously, we have numerous numbers of blockchain chapters around the world that are taking this task on of educating and onboarding Web 2 to Web 3 users. But they all have disparate access to not only content, but also the speakers that they're able to bring in to educate their community. And finally, we've heard a lot of our chapters have this challenge of up-leveling because they have to focus on sort of the operational tasks in basic blockchain education, and they don't have the resources to up-level their chapter goals or gain any global recognition. And so we are the University of Ethereum, UETH for short. Our core mission here is to develop and empower the next generation of blockchain leaders. And how we do this is we provide the global community with open access to educational resources that we consider the operational piping for them to focus on more high-value things. And so let me give you a pretty concrete example. I live in Austin, and in Austin, there is the University of Texas, which hosts a MBA blockchain club, as well as a separate undergraduate club. Within Austin, there's also a ton of city organizations like ETHDenver. And all these clubs, whether or not they start for social reasons, educational reasons, or other reasons, all end up having to onboard Web 2 to Web 3 users. And so they all have this need for blockchain education. So one thing that we're providing for them to lower the burden of their focus on blockchain basics is we provide this online educational library for anybody and any of their members to access. Simultaneously, we have this global community hub, which they can use to run their chapters. And we provide weekly speaker-led workshops. And these speaker-led workshops tap into our networks, which will attract generally pretty prominent figures in this blockchain space. So for instance, I've been a crypto VC, most recently a Variant, and Sai and Sabrina have hosted EdCon, which is the Ethereum Developers Conference, since 2017. And so a lot of the speakers that we're sourcing, these general blockchain chapters do not currently have access to. But I think, above all, the most important thing that we're doing is we're shifting focus from the operational tasks of providing blockchain education, of organizing speaker-led workshops from these chapters and shifting them to more high-value things like learn through doing projects. And these projects are either projects that they can join when our speakers are coming through and offering contribution opportunities, or projects that they may be inspired by our workshops when they see real-world use cases of how blockchain is applied, and coming up with their own inspiration and starting their own blockchain projects. And finally, I think the biggest part that we offer a lot of these chapters is when they do have a project that matures and wants to graduate to the broader blockchain community. Right now, there's no scalable way for them to compete for global attention. And so by hosting in real life events such as the Ethereum Developers Conference, we're able to plug in these localized communities and the projects that they're working on directly into the Ethereum community. And I'll just end on a quick snapshot. We've been conceptualized, we've been around for about 2 years. We have over 100 different chapters across 100 different plus countries. And we have a pretty strong offline as well as online footprint. So with that said, I'll hand it off to my colleague, Sabrina, who will now talk more about exactly what we do.
Awesome. Thank you, Tina. So I will proceed to touch upon some of the tools we've been built to onboard and empower future leaders. So I'll start with our interactive learning platform powered by AI. If you guys go to UETH.org or check out the visual references over here, you'll be able to find Duolingo-style analogy-based learning modules covering the fundamentals of the blockchain technology. We also have AI tools to assess our students' performance by grading their quizzes and facilitate their learning process. So with this, we really hope to establish the new standard for Web3 literacy, as well as digital literacy in general. But this is only phase 1 for us. The next step for us is to invite our partners, such as projects or communities, to build through our education infrastructure and build their own education content for their own set of audience. This is what we call white label solutions. And stage 3 for us is to truly make our platform open source. So anyone, including communities, projects, individual educators, will be able to contribute their expertise of knowledge to help us co-build, co-create this interactive version of Wikipedia page of the blockchain space. So many of the students, after they finished the onboarding series, they came to us with the question, what's next? What else can I learn? And how can I really solve real-world problems through blockchain technologies? That's when we design the weekly interactive workshops for them to advance their learning process. So what is our version of workshop? Our workshops are led by industry leaders, and students are encouraged to brainstorm new solutions together with the speaker. So Tina has been working on a few of the workshops with industry leaders from the esports gaming industry, as well as expert of creator economy. Recently, she just finished an episode with our guest from Stability AI to further explore the synergies between AI and crypto. And our very first workshop, hosted by our workshop host, Rachel, was with the Vice Mayor of City of Berkeley and Princess Sarah of Sierra Leone. Through this workshop, our students were able to explore internship opportunities with the Office of City of Berkeley, as well as understand how blockchain bonds can be applied to clean water initiatives of Sierra Leone. So through the workshop series, students can get to understand what's beyond aspirational potentials and really brainstorm and try to build projects with their peers. What we can offer for students who want to build their projects is a serious support through our global community hubs. So if students teamed up with their peer that they met through our platform or previously through local communities or university blockchain clubs, they can submit their projects, and we will be able to provide mentorship support, grants opportunities, as well as exposure at our own events. So to recap, the Learn by Doing journey starts with learn the basics at UETH.org. And then if you want to learn more advanced topics and understand how you can apply blockchain technology to solve real-world problems, you can join our workshops. And then you can team up with your peer and work on projects. Later, you'll get the opportunity to present at regional and global events that's hosted by us. So I've touched on solutions, how can students get involved, and how can we support them. I'll now pass the mic to Sai, to introduce, explain more about our ethos, our philosophy, and what is the fundamental layer of UETH. Welcome.
Thank you, Satu. Thank you, Tina. Oh. All right. Let's not overcomplicate things. Ethos or fundamentals. Let's talk about what we can identify that's currently going on in the space. The negative constructs, the negative narratives, the negative connotations. How the space has become a financial vehicle for degens. We have a lot of education initiatives that covers learn and learn type of programs where they are incentivized through monetization. And I believe that's the worst way to educate or to start any educational initiative. So personally, I believe what you put in is what you get out. And if we want to create and inject creativity, we have to inject it with creativity. To carry the values of what open source is, transparency, inclusivity, community building, sharing of resources and knowledge, learn by doing, and being accessible. So going along the narrative of a financial vehicle, I believe that people come into this industry for the wrong reasons. They don't stick around long enough for there to be social awareness or social responsibility. We want to form a fundamental layer that give our students and our members the tools, the right tools, for them to have both the tangible and the intangibles in order to build regenerative pipelines. Raising the benchmark of digital literacy. Part of making content that's accessible as possible is to make it fun and as relatable as possible. Sabrina touched on how we use AI tools. That concept is based on the Feynman technique, where essentially is you don't know something well enough unless you can say it in your own words. We wanted to create a standardized curriculum where anyone from 5-year-old to 50-year-old is able to understand it. So we took about 160 or so core concepts to the Ethereum blockchain and created storylines taught through analogy. And we wanted to showcase a new way to educate by localized content. Meaning, by no means are we educators, but we want to provide a different approach to how things can be taught and how things can be learned. And most people, when we ask, are you interested in blockchain, or what do you think about Web3? Is a lot of times we get that it's not that we don't care or we're not interested, is we don't know where to start. So at the University of Ethereum, we want to consolidate the resources that we have collected. We want to be able to extend our hands out to anyone who needs and wants to get started in this space. Another thing that we're doing is these weekly workshops, which is essentially spotlighting everyone who's building blockchain and using blockchain tools to make impact in their community. We want to showcase what they're doing around the world, so our students can begin to know what's possible and how they can begin to make impact regardless of scale, regardless of industry. we want to create this fundamental layer that instills moral fiber, where it's a safe environment where you're able to fail, you're able to try, and you're able to have access to dedicated mentorship. So you have the tools and the confidence to be able to succeed. And one of the use cases that we believe can help build a more positive narrative in the creative collective space is ACE. And next, I want to invite Colton to come up and share what he's working on.
Amazing. Thank you, Sai. Hello, so I'm Colton. I'm the founder of ACE. ACE is a trading card game about the magic of Web3. So every card in ACE represents real-world innovations and the heroes and villains behind them. So picture all of your favorite crypto themes, memes, the protocols, people, and projects, and then transform those into sci-fi and epic fantasy cards. So we think of this as metaverse mythology. And the coolest part is that these cards are actually created by the community, by people like you. Before I get to that, though, how did we just go, or why did we go from talking about education to now talking about a game? Well, as my colleagues just talked about, digital literacy is lacking overall. And the blockchain space in particular is extremely complicated. There's a lot to wrap your head around. It's a super fast-moving space. And especially if you're just getting into it, it's just easy to get scammed and totally overwhelmed. So Yuval Noah Harari has this quote that I absolutely love. It says, "Humans think in stories, and we try to make sense of the world by telling stories." And ACE presents a story that uses these 5 different colors, each color representing a different philosophy in the crypto space. And these create a sort of mental model. And what I really wanted to go after here was just creating the most fun and engaging way possible to learn about the blockchain space without feeling like you're learning anything at all. So let's dive into a couple of these. We'll start with the good old degens, the red cards. So anybody who's played trading card games before, you may be used to like more aggressive aggro style decks. These are going to be your degen red cards. So these are your very chaotic sort of just immediate action and like just you're going to be really strong at the beginning of the game, but maybe taper off late game. Across from red, you've got the regens. Maybe not so strong at the beginning of the game, but super powerful late game. A lot of the cards will represent maybe names that aren't so popular in the crypto space, but they're all the people and projects that have been around for years doing really, really great work. In gold, we've got a lot of your more traditional institutions, the banks, the centralized exchanges, some of the government institutions. These often are represented by more sci-fi and sort of very futuristic technologies. And across from them, you have the real magic, blue, focused on freedom, innovation. A lot of the cards here will represent the actual Web3 and crypto things you'll see around a place like ETHDenver. Finally, you have the black category, the shadow. These are all of the other philosophies taken to an extreme, the corrupt versions of each of them. And while a lot of these are really fun and flavorful cards, they can be quite sad if you lived through some of these moments. So here we have some of the contagions, the frog commanders, the dark personalities, and of course, anyone who's familiar with Slate Star Codex and the demon of coordination failure, you've got Moloch right on top. So as I mentioned, many of the most popular cards in the alpha edition of ACE were created by the community. And one of the things that I'm really, really excited about right now is that huge thank you to Jmill for coding this up. we now have a very early version of the web app for you to actually make your own cards. So until now, I've been a bottleneck in this process where I just meet with small groups of people. We do some creativity games. We vote on different cards. It's worked great, but now it's a much more permissionless process. So you can join the Discord. You can jump right in. And like I said, to capture the incredible, vibrant diversity of crypto, the only way we can do that is by everyone adding their own perspectives. And just as an artist and a creative, it's one of the most thrilling things to see is how all of our perspectives weave together. So I certainly invite you to drop some cards in, and really excited to see what you come up with. That's powered by Eden, really, really cool tech. So the last part here that I'm going to touch on is just where this project came from and where we're going. So 1 year ago, I came to ETHDenver with an art project. There was no game at the time. It's called the Infinite Garden Cards, and it was 20 of these collectible cards. I handed those out, and after ETHDenver, over the following 12 months, my brother and I created the entire trading card game. We sold out at DevConnect in Istanbul, and now we're partnering with the University of Ethereum to bring you the digital version. I'm really excited about this transition into the digital space because it is going to just make this so much more accessible to people. And as an educational resource, that's something that's just really, really important to me. So both in terms of the educational element and this sort of idea of like learning by doing, these are two themes that we share between UETH and ACE. And again, I invite you to join this adventure, and I'm really excited to just see the game that we can create together. So thank you very much. Pass it back to you.
Thanks, Colton. I know you'll be in the main event. You'll have a booth set up there, so he'll be selling more of his sold-out cards that he's reserved for ETHDenver. So you can grab a deck and play the game. So that was the end of our talk. I'm just going to conclude on a few points. Here's all of our socials. But the one thing I want to say is we're constantly looking for Ethereum leaders to feature in our workshop. So if you have an interest in giving back to the community, talking more about what you're doing with blockchain, feel free to email us, lead@ueth.org, and we can get a conversation set up to see if it could be a fit. We are also interested in creating a mentorship network. So feel free to email us if you have any interest in mentoring any of the projects that come out of UETH. And finally, for ETHDenver, we have a few cool things. We have a booth set up at the entrance of this arena, so come find us. We are participants in a POAP challenge where you can mint your POAP and then start your UETH trivia. But I think the other cool things is if you wanted to try out our online workshop or our online modules on blockchain basics, if you finish the beginner course, which is about an hour, come find us at our booth and we'll enter your name into a raffle for one of 10 signed Vitalik t-shirts that we will raffle off at the end of ETHDenver. And then 2, if you finish our intermediate course, which will take 2-3 hours, come find us, and we'll give you a comped ticket to EdCon, which is taking place in July, end of July in Tokyo this year. So come find us, and that was our talk.